Yo, what up? This is your boy King Series straight from Busy Home Beat, yes. And in today's tutorial, I'm just going to show you how you can actually level your beat for you to sound professional and good for you. If you are actually starting up your mixes and you don't know how to make sure your beat is sounding good and nice. So let me just play the beat for you guys for you to listen to how it sounded good and the sweet sounding beat like this, and you go by using this kind of tricks to make sure your own also sound great and nice for yourself. So let's just listen to the beat and I will just show you one or two tricks that you can actually use to help yourself as a beginner. Okay. Okay, very nice. And I can see that I can also know that this kind of beat is actually nice and good. It's sounding good and right. Yes. So what I did is if you come to the mixer track here, everything that is happening inside the beat is actually on the mixer now. You get it? Yes. It's here. So what I did is if you cannot actually use your ears to determine that maybe a sound is actually disturbing you or making your beat to sound bad and everything, sometimes after playing the beat and you want to mix it, not about mixing per se, because when it comes to mixing, the necessary thing that you're supposed to know is first thing you always hear it, your sound selection, select the right sounds and the good sounds for yourself. And the next thing is the most important one after the sound selection is uh, the the leveling. Yes, the leveling, which almost everybody use the word gain staging. Yes, so leveling your beat makes it sound good and professional for you. So after selecting the right sound, so this is how I actually go about it. If you can't use your ears to determine this as a beginner or anything, just go by this trick and it will help you. So this is how I do arrange my beats. I make sure my kick is first, then the rest of the thing follow, then the instrument, the melody and the chord progression, everything follow, then my transition and rolls follows. So this is how I do arrange my stuffs on the mixer. Yes. So for the kick to be at the first position, the kick is the main thing that is actually controlled. So I set my kick around, if I'm setting my kick around 9 dB. If you are using the meters, if you can't use your ears, then you are using the meters. So if I'm using my kick to be around 9 dB, so this is around 9 dB. It doesn't mean that just make sure it's around 9 dB. It can be above 9 dB a little bit or below 9 dB a little bit. If you are setting your kick around 12 dB, I didn't say exactly 12 dB, around 12 dB, make sure that the rest of the instruments are below the 12 dB. So this time around, my kick is around 9 dB. If you let me just solo where everything is actually happening. So it's around 9 dB, you get it? So I'll make sure everything is actually below the 9 dB. So after the kick, this is the sound that comes, the clap. Yes, and this sound too is. So I stack these two sounds here. So what I did here is if I play it, you can see the knob now, the meter for this kind of sound, the clap is hitting around minus 12 dB. You get it? And if you look at this one too, which is also playing the same role as the clap, this one too is hitting around minus 12 dB. The reason why it's hitting around minus 12 dB and not maybe above 12 dB because the kick is hitting around 9 is because I've stacked them. If you combine these two, it gives it another volume for itself. You get it? So if you look at these two sounds, so if I solo this one and I put it on the master tracker, look at the dB now. It's also around 12. But if I add this one to it, now look at where it is hitting. It is almost close to the kick. Yeah, just that the kick is minus 8 and this is around, yes. So to prevent this, I didn't lower it here, but I did lower it when I was playing the beat around this side. So this is the clap. So if you look at the volume here, I've lowered it a little bit, and for this I've also lowered it a little bit just to make sure I get a really good balance for it. So you can actually bring it down if you want to bring it down, because maybe if it's disturbing you, but this I think it is okay for me because of the leveling. So the kick, then the rest of them should be below. So because I've stuck it to be together, that's why I'm making sure that it's not going above the 12 dB. You get it? So below the 12 dB and this one, so together the two of them makes it a little bit louder. You get it? So the next sound, so these are the main things which are in the beat. So the rest is just to support the beat and make it sound good and groovy. You get it? So the rest shouldn't be too loud. Most of the time when you play a beat and you want to make sure that whatever you've played, whichever sound that you bring inside, you want to hear it. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes some sounds shouldn't be heard, some should be heard, some shouldn't be heard, because whenever you are watching a movie, the final product is what is on the TV that you are watching and enjoying. There are a whole lot of things that went behind the scenes that you cannot even see, but all those things that went behind the scene actually help the movie to become what you are actually enjoying. You get it? So whichever way it is, the final product is what matters. Not that you said that you play this sound and this person can't hear, or you yourself can't hear it, so you want to hear it. Sometimes some of them must come down and be a supporting role for us. Yes. So and the rest of them, so these are the main things. So the rest of it is just supporting. For this sound is supporting. So let's look at where the dB is, around -18. Even for this sound, I did not even touch it at all. I can actually, yes, because just the normal sound. I didn't raise the volume or lower it. I left it like that, the way it came, and just like that. So the next thing is the conga. So look at where the conga sound is. So it's sitting around 12, and yes. So for the rest of the sound, should be around 12, 15, and 18. Yes. Sometimes some of them can actually come down just because I want it to be a supporting role, because it's actually disturbing one or two things. Yes. So this is how we do level our stuff. And look at how this reverb clap also goes. You get it? This reverb clap, this is where it is now. So use your meters and make sure you are actually balancing it in a way. So let's continue. So for this sound, as I said earlier on, this sound is also a supporting role, so I make sure it is hitting around 18, 15, and 12. So if I solo it, this is where it is hitting, below 12. Your own might be lower than this or a little bit higher. It depends on how you want it to sound. So if you are using the meters, you can actually go by this, below 12, 15 for this supporting rows. You get it? Below 12, you shouldn't go above 12. Yes, for the supporting drums. And for this sound, you can see this where it is hitting, around 21. Yes. So it's, yes. So you can see I did lower it when I was actually playing the beat. You can see it over here. Yes. So on the mixer, the next sound is this guy. I didn't do anything to it. I just lower it. I didn't put a reverb or EQ or anything on it, and it's actually sounding good for me. I kept it dry, so I lower it on the channel rack here. Then on the mixer too, I thought it was actually loud, so I brought it down. So on the meter, it is sitting around below -15. You get it? So if you listen to the drum sessions only, this is what we have now, and nothing is actually disturbing us. You can actually see that you are also nodding your head to the beat, right? Because you feel it and like it. Yes. So nothing is actually crashing or disturbing us. It's sounding good and clean. So after this, what I actually do next is my bass. So for the bass, 14. For the bass, I didn't actually lower it on the channel rack. So when we came here, so if you see any sound which has not been lowered using this volume knob over here, then actually maybe I did lower it here, or it wasn't sounding too loud, so I left it like that. Yeah. So for the bass, I didn't lower it there, but I did lower it here. And for the bass, this is a trick that I always use for my bass. I make sure that for the kick, to hit around 9 dB, then the bass should be around minus 15 dB. If my kick is hitting around 12 dB, then my bass should be around 21 dB. That's for the trick that I always use for my sound, my bass and my kick. If I'm not, even if I'm sidechaining, that is a trick that I will always use if I'm using the meters, not my ears. Yes, if you practice this one for some time, as time goes on, you get to understand how good your sound will be. Yes, and you understand how you actually practice with your ears and also your eyes with the meters. Yes, go about this trick and trust me, you just understand and make sure you are doing the right thing. Okay, let's go on. You can see where the bass is actually hitting now. But before I continue, please, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to support your boy, like and also comment to this video. Trust me, your time will never be wasted. We learn a whole lot of stuff on this channel here. But if you want me to actually do anything for you, or you want us to work, just contact me through my number in the description and you'll get to business. This is your boy Kinsley, straight from Beautiful Beat, and let's continue. So for the melody part, this is the trick that I use. So I play a pad. Some people always complain to me, contact me through my Instagram and my WhatsApp number. They always tell me their pad always sound too harsh or too muddy. Yes. So for your pad to be actually good, it's all about the leveling. So if you look on the channel here, what I did here is I brought the volume knob for this on the channel rack here around 64%. So on this, you have to make sure that you are not hitting above the 9 dB where the kick is. So for this part, it's hitting around, you get it around 15 dB. It's not even getting closer to this side. Yes, if you actually can use your ears to determine that, use the meters here that I'm actually showing you, around 15 for the pad. Yes. So if the other melodies comes inside, and for this melody, okay, let me just add the rest of it and just tell you a little thing that you're supposed to know as a guide. So for the part, what I did on it is just EQ the lows and the highs. You can actually use any EQ of your own choice. The reason why I'm using this EQ to cut the lows and the highs of the frequency is because I want the bass and the kick to actually have a free range for their frequency side, just to make sure they actually perform better for their side. Yes, and the high ends and everything is supposed to also have a free range rather than the pad frequency breathing through the high ends and everything. It's supposed to have its position, you get it. That's why I'm using this EQ on it. So for you to put an effect on your beat as a way of mixing it, doesn't necessarily matter, but it matters at a certain point. But the most important thing is your sound selection and your leveling. Level it in the right way, and or gain stage it in the right way, and trust me, you can actually get a very nice without even putting effect on it. But sometimes effect matters in a certain way when it's necessary. So and I have this sound over here. So for this, on the channel rack, I didn't touch it, you get it. But for this side, I just brought it down a little bit, and this is the meter range that is actually hitting around minus 20 dB, you get it. And I put a reverb on it. I put the reverb on it because for this sound, it was actually crashing with this sound here. Listen. You can actually hear that their sounds are like, yes, they are actually similar in a way. So to just make sure that the frequency, if I'm not using EQ to EQ certain stuff, and so I'm using the reverb to push my guitar here at the back of the sound, so that this one can actually have a free range at the frequency range that is actually performing. Okay, so the reverb is pushing it back for you to hear it and also feel it in a way together with this sound here. And the next thing is this sound. This is just a personal thing that I did. So and for this sound, I didn't touch the volume knob, the one which is about to play for you guys. And this is where the volume knob is hitting around 18. Yes. So what I did is I put a reverb on it like the other one, and just treat it a little bit, and make sure it is also supporting the other sound here. They are all at the background. And for the fruity chorus, it's just an option. If you want to design the sound when you are playing the beat, it's an option. Not necessarily put fruity chorus on it or put a reverb on it, just to make sure you just have to design it away so you can actually go by it. So without the fruity chorus, it sounds like this. You get it? Okay. So that is actually what I did. So if you listen to the melodies alone, you can hear everything, and everything is sounding clean. You can hear everything, right? So if you are new to the channel, make sure you support your boy by subscribing. So let's listen to everything, and it's your boy Kinsey, straight from Beautiful Beat. If you want us to get into business, my number is in the description there. Contact me and we get into business. Yes, it's your boy Kinsey, and I'm out.